Vigil, Ante, and the Vigilante Antics by BelleAmant. Read by Oakshadow5. Chapter 49. Let's go camping. The trip to camp starts before Izuku, Hitoshi, and Aizawa even make it to campus. This is because Yamada made it a point to complain about how he's being abandoned by his family for a week. "You're all going without me?" Yamada whines as he clings to Aizawa, arms slung around the underground hero and keeping him from grabbing his bag. "You don't even like kids, you said it yourself. Where do you get to go on a camp for a week?"
"I'm the homeroom teacher,"
Aizawa reminds Yamada for the 11th time in the past hour.
"I have to go with them."
"I still don't see why I can't," Yamada mutters, the quietest Izuku has ever heard the voice hero, and Izuku has as good as expression to hide the amusement that's building up within him. From how Hitoshi's shoulders are slowly rising, it's clear that his best friend feels the same.
"There are people here that need help,"
Aizawa says, finally getting his husband's arms off of him.
"If we took too many people to camp, there'd be less for these cities. Besides, you said you don't trust any of the current interns to run your radio specials."
"I hate it when you're right," Yamada complains, and Aizawa smirks.
"Must be angry a lot then, huh?"
Well, Izuku couldn't hold in his laughter forever, although it does hurt to have such a betrayed expression from Yamada turned on him, fake or not. "Sorry," Izuku apologizes as soon as he can get the word out, not able to withstand such a sad look for too long. "But we aren't going to be spending the camp playing games or anything."
"Yeah, that Zawa's going to put us through hell,"
Hitoshi adds, and Yamada sighs, a small smile finally appearing. "He will, won't he?" Yamada murmurs, and then stands up, clapping his hands together. "Alright, well, you two try not to suffer too much, you hear me? And show, don't kill our kids."
"No promises,"
Aizawa responds, which Izuku thinks is quite rude if one were to ask him. But no one does, and so Izuku huffs alongside Hitoshi as they follow Aizawa. They make their way to UA quickly, and are the first ones there.
"Bus gets here in roughly 15 minutes. Students should be here in the next hour, or we leave without them,"
Aizawa explains, and then promptly gets into a sleeping bag, collapses to the floor, and passes out. "Well then," Izuku starts, looking to Hitoshi. "What should we do while we wait?"
"Think we can jump onto the roof of the bus when it gets here?"
Hitoshi asks, and Izuku grins. As a matter of fact, they can, even without their capture weapons. All it took was a good run-up and the ability to pull themselves over ledges, which they have in spades. Tena nearly screams when they pop their heads over the edge to greet him, only his remembrance of Aizawa's sleeping form stopping him. Which is good, or else Aizawa may have murdered him. "Good morning, Tena-kun," Izuku greets, not so fearful of his imminent demise, and Tenya stares up at him. "Why are you up there?" he asks, and Izuku shrugs.
"We felt like it,"
Hitoshi says, his eyes just peeking off the roof.
"Want to join us?"
"No," Tena says resolutely, and Izuku decides that that's a boring answer. He slips back out of view, laying flat on the roof, Hitoshi by his side. The rest of the way to spend in this position, listening as more of his peers arrive. It's nice, and probably the calmest moment Izuku will get this entire week. "Think we can open one of the bus windows and sneak in that way?" Izuku asks, but is purposefully quiet, and Hitoshi smirks at him. Tenya does scream, this time, when he walks into the bus, only to find Izuku and Hitoshi in the back, already sitting with their bags under their seats and capture weapons around their neck. How fun! The ride quickly became boring, and Izuku fell asleep about 15 minutes in, Hitoshi already asleep 5 minutes prior. Now the bus is stopped, Tena explaining that Aizawa told them all to get off for a quick rest. Izuku sighs as he gets off of the bus, stretching beside Hitoshi as he scans the surroundings. Despite being a rest stop, Izuku quickly notes how there are no bathrooms, no parking spaces, no anything that would signify a need to stop. Only a road that they pull to the side of, and a large cliff that leads to the massive forest below if one manages to fall over the short guardrails that are put up. This doesn't feel right, Izuku thinks, and he reaches out wordlessly, taking Hitoshi by the sleeve and pulling him back ever so slightly.
"Trap?"
Hitoshi asks, voice quiet, and Izuku nods. "Do we tell the others?" Izuku asks, and Hitoshi snorts. "Nah, I'm sure that Zawa has a plan. It's just like him to start training on the way, so why not let him have his fun?" Izuku can't help but snort, both at his friend's nonchalance and the nickname. No matter how many times they've used it since just after finals, the name still manages to make Izuku laugh. And feel oddly warm, but he doesn't like to think about the implications of such a feeling. Instead of focusing on said feelings, he directs his attention towards his teacher, who is now speaking to two other adults. They're both women, dressed in cat-like outfits that ring a bell in Izuku's head. They're wild red pussycats. Izuku murmurs as he takes another step back, moving further out of sight. Hitoshi moves back a second later, listening intently. Focused on rescue missions, the team of 4 have stayed in the top 50 as a group, and Izuku could swear that he's never seen the pussycats in person before, yet the brown-haired lady seems awfully familiar. Then, Izuku notices the small boy with a red cap, standing beside the brunette with an obvious scar on his face. A small boy, stomping away after sobbing his heart out on Izuku's hero outfit. A lady staying behind, apologizing. He's just lost his parents. The lone boy makes eye contact with him, and his eyes widen. Izuku puts on a softer smile. The boy looks away. Poor kid, Izuku murmurs, and Hitoshi raises an eyebrow. However, any chance to explain is cut off when the two fourths of the rescue team, Pixie Bob and Mendeley, he meant Mendeley were on patrol, begin to introduce themselves. Admittedly, Izuku is a little too caught up in his excitement to hear the first part of the introduction, but he tunes in just in time to hear. Why are they even here? Kaminari asked Sarah. And where's the rest up anyways? This seems weird, Sarah mutters, and Izuku can see the exact moment that his peers begin to catch on. You don't think... Ashido starts, and that's when Pixie Bob lets out a cackle. You have 3 hours to get through the forest in order to get fed, Pixie Bob declares, and then slams her hands to the ground with open glee. Immediately, the grunt reacts, shifting and crumbling, forming a massive landslide that sweeps all of 1A off of their feet and into the forest. Well, all but 2, who hid behind the bus the moment their peers start speaking. Izuku holds back his giggles as Mendeley explains. Continue on down the path through the forest of beasts in order to arrive at the camp. Your training begins here. Izuku hears a scream that can only be one of terror, and has to ignore every instinct that yells at him to help whoever is in danger. It's just training. It's not an actual threat. Just exercise. Hitoshi seems to be thinking something similar, because the violet-haired boy is slowly coming down beside him.
I'll see you back at the camp,
Izawa says, and Izuku blinks as the bus starts to back up. He's more surprised when he hears the other 3 getting back into the car, and then hears the car driving away. They didn't notice us? Izuku says, voice so soft Hitoshi leans in to hear. Really? They get their answer when the bus starts to move, and the boys cling onto it. Somehow, no one actually noticed them. Huh. They hang onto the bus, perched awkwardly on a small bumper and using their capture gear to remain attached, for at least 10 minutes before both boys come to the same conclusion. Hitching a ride on the back of the bus is boring. Want to go tree hopping? Izuku asks. It's been a while since we got to do that.
Sure, why not?
Hitoshi agrees.
Want to spook that Zawa first?
Izuku shrugs, the motion jerking as the bus begins to round a bend. Text him? Text him. Izuku makes sure that he's properly situated as he puts out his phone, plugging in his password before opening his chat with Aizawa. He taps out the message with one hand, and then snickers as he presses the send button.
What do you write?
Hitoshi asks, and Izuku reads it out loud. Oh, you know. Hey, Aizawa, man checking the back of the bus. Look out the window. Good enough? Definitely. The two retract their capture weapons quickly, preparing to leap off at a moment's notice. That moment comes when they see Aizawa's face pop into view, looking down and spotting them, crouched on the little ledge. Izuku laughs when Aizawa's mouth drops open, eyes narrowing. Giving a little wave, Izuku grabs onto Hitoshi before leaping off, activating his shoes and sending the two boys into the air. As they reach their peak, Izuku lets his friend go, and they activate their capture weapons to go flying through the trees. They're the first ones to make it to camp, likely because Pixie Bob doesn't know their location whatsoever. They don't come across whatever hellish monstrosities the blonde has created with her quirk that causes their peers' screams to echo through the trees, which is perfectly alright in Izuku's book. Izuku laughs again when he lands on the ground at last, Hitoshi rolling to a stop beside him before getting up smoothly. Mendeley quirks an eyebrow at the duo, then looks to Aizawa, who seems both impressed and exasperated. These are your boys? Mendeley asks, and gestures at their treasured capture weapons, and Aizawa groans. I can see the resemblance.
They stole some of mine to replicate it,
Aizawa says.
Taught themselves by watching me.
Impressive, Pixie Bob compliments. And you two are the first ones out, though it isn't very nice to leave your friends behind now, is it?
They were never with the group,
Aizawa explains. I'm sorry? Mendele looks at Aizawa at that, confused. You saw everyone fall into the forest?
No, you sent most of my students into the forest.
Aizawa corrects.
The problem children hitched a ride on the bus for at least 10 minutes, hid for close to 20, and then decided to throw themselves into the forest after purposely giving away the location.
There's a very long pause before Pixie Bob says, Really? We got bored, Izuku admits. And it didn't seem fair to completely escape training just because we realized what was happening.
So we went tree hopping.
Hitoshi adds calmly. Alright then, Pixie Bob says, smiling brightly. Well, good job. Honestly, you would have just stayed on the bus. It would have been funnier.
Don't encourage them,
Aizawa groans, to which Pixie Bob cheerily shakes her head, denying his request. Since you two are here so early, want to help us make dinner? Your peers should show up. Oh, they probably won't show up for a while. Alright, do you two want to go train? Sure, Izuku and Hitoshi agree. And that's how they end up fighting earth beasts, despite evading them for the entire run through the forest horizon. Fun. On the bright side, the others seem to be far more exhausted, so Izuku still counts it as an overall win in his book. Yippee, it's the first chapter of the training camp. I'm so excited for this arc. But anyways guys, I hope you all enjoyed chapter 49 of Vigil, Ante and the Vigilante Antics, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!